to share simple Dhamma with all of you. I'm glad to be back here after a lapse of, I was told, 13 years. I only remember I was the first speaker invited to the society here. And time flies. Soon it was 13 years. I couldn't believe it. This morning, I'd like to share with you this topic: what do Buddhists believe? You all know Chief Reverend K.Sri Dhammananda wrote the book, What Buddhists Believe. What Buddhists believe is a statement, it's not a question. Okay? So the Chinese translation should be 佛教徒的信仰，不是佛教徒信仰什么。But it was wrongly translated all the while. Until one day I told Chief Reverend and I corrected it. So you find in the market there are two versions. One with the correct Chinese title, the other one with the incorrect Chinese title. But that's beside the point. Today I'm going to talk to you about what do Buddhists believe. You know, all religions, they have some kind of object of worship, right? For Muslim, what do they worship? Allah. For Christian? Huh? Their Lord or the God or the Jews? The Jews also, they have their God. God name one, Jehovah. Okay? Buddhists, what do we believe? So when we are posed with this question, what do we believe? Huh? Dhamma. You believe in Dhamma. Out of 100 points, you get 33.3 points. Huh? Buddhists believe in the triple gems. Three things. Our object of worship, I put inverted comma, we don't use the word object of worship, but similar to other religions, we have the object of worship. And our object of worship is 3 in 1, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So when people ask you, don't miss out the Sangha, don't miss out the Dhamma, don't miss out the Buddha, okay? So Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. These are the 3 objects of worship. But I do not use the word, or rather we Buddhists seldom use the word belief. We don't use the word belief. We have our technical terms. We say refuge. See? But because we are so influenced by all the things that is going on, so we say belief lah. So everybody say belief. Hey, what do you believe? So we say I believe in Buddhism, I believe in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So we use the word belief convenience sake. But actually we have our technical terms. Our technical term is we take refuge. Now why we don't use the word belief doesn't mean that we Buddhists don't believe anything. But why our emphasis is not on belief? Because when you say you believe in something, it means you don't know. You don't know, then only you believe, correct or not? If you know already, what is there to believe? That's why Chief Reverend narrated a story. Say a Catholic, a young man came to the Big Buddhist Mahavihara trying to convert him, Can you imagine the Christians trying to convert our chief priest? And he asked our Chief Reverend, what do you believe? Chief Reverend said, then my book, What Buddhists Believe. Then I said, so what Buddhists believe? Chief Reverend said, read it for yourself. There's nothing to believe. When you read, there's nothing to believe. Now why we don't use the word believe? Because belief means ignorance. You don't know. Right or not? Now if I say, in my pocket here, I have this wallet here, and there's more than, those of you who believe I have more than $500 here, please put up your hands. Those of you who believe I have less than $500. So whether you believe is more than 500 or less than 500, do you know? You judge by the size lah, you guess lah, all this thing implies that you don't know. So when you say you choose to believe, means you don't know. It's like if you introduce your mother, you know it's your mother, you tell people this is my mother. You won't say, I believe she's my mother. You know. So we Buddhists, we don't really use the word believe. But that does not mean that Buddhists don't believe anything. Because in this world, we are so ignorant, there are so many things that we don't know, we begin with belief. We begin with belief. But whereas some other people, when they begin with belief, they also end in belief. They believe there is somebody up there watching us all the time. You do bad things, I punish you. You do good things, I punish you. You do good things, I reward you. We believe. But is there any rational thinking or any experience to tell us that it is like that? We don't know, but we choose to believe. Okay. So, for us Buddhists, we also believe. We use the word saddha, S-A-D-D-H-A, saddha. Malay word sadar. Okay. So saddha, we translate into English belief or confidence. It means it carries a connotation of clarity. So the word saddha carries a connotation of clarity, which you really understand. So we use this word saddha to imply that although I have belief in this thing, but I believe it clearly, knowing what it is all about. So in Buddhism, our belief is not the ending point, it's a starting point. So we have pariyati, patipati, pativeda. You learn first. You listen, you learn. Then you put into practice. Either you meditate, or let's say you practice dana, Then after that, you come to the third stage, pativeda, you realize. For example, you practice dana, you feel a sense of happiness. You get rid of your greed, and you feel your mind is now stronger than ever before. So you verify it, confirm. Okay, so pariyati, patipati, pativeda. So our belief is based on that. Just like in the school, when you were a small boy, you learn from the teacher. Teacher told you 3 times 7, 21. You don't understand, but you believe first. Okay? But after that, in your real life, you practice, you realize, 3 times 7, 21, that's true. Finally, you are convinced. So that is how we Buddhists take belief. Okay? I hope we get this right. Now, as I mentioned, we use the word, our technical term, refuge, okay, or the three refuges of Tisarana. Now we chanted our Tisarana. But actually, this word refuge has got 4 characteristics that we must know. The first one is, we go to the Tisarana for refuge. Okay, the first one is for refuge. Taparayana ta. It means it's just like a house. You go into a house so that you are shaded from the sun and protected from the rain and things like that. So same thing, you go to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, you feel protected. Okay? Later on you will understand why you get protected. Okay? When we talk about the Dhamma. There's a famous verse in Buddhism that says, the Dhamma protects those who practice, who follow the Dhamma, right? So same thing, you get to the right house will protect you. So when you say we go for the refuge, first thing we get our self-protected. Then there's a second characteristic. It is something that we dedicate our whole life. So it's not something like play one, You feel like coming, you learn a little bit, after that you go and learn something else, then hoping that you will find the truth in this world. There are so many people who always tell, we must learn from every other religions. In that case, you have not enough time in this world. Do you know? You know how many religions there are in this world? In the Parliament of World Religions, I think there are about 100 religions in this world. So which one you are going to choose? Which one are you going to go through all these things? So Buddhists believe in Yen, the conditions around us. We are most associated with Buddhism. We learn Buddhism first. Why you want to go and waste your time, go and learn this, learn that, learn so many things? You can get acquainted, you learn a little bit, yes. But you want to devote your time to learn everything in this world, just like you want to be a scientist, yet you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, you want to become a lawyer, you think you can do everything? You don't have that time lah. Okay? So, be frank to ourselves. When we take refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, we have to dedicate our life. Okay? And the third one, which is the most critical one, is to learn. Okay? It's to learn. So, this is the one that some people don't like lah. You go to some other religions, they say come and believe, pray, hey, all work done already, more or less safe already. Here we come and pray. After that I say you must learn. People are lazy, you know. Come to learning, sama Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha lah, 4 noble truths lah, 4 noble truths, 10 paramitas, 10 kusala karma. Susah loh. But how can the realities of life be simple? How can the meaning of life be simple? Okay, even to get a bowl of rice is not easy. So how can we, when we talk about the meaning and the significance of life, be simple? So cannot be lazy lah. We have to learn. Okay, so that's why we always say Buddhism is a DIY religion. But many people are not interested in DIY because they don't want to DIY. They want you to get ready, give it to me, and I accept. That's why that Indians, the philosopher Krishnamurti says, we are all second-hand men. People prepare the first hand, we accept, and then that's it, that's ours. So we are all second-hand men. We cannot think ourselves. We don't want to learn second-hand. And the fourth one, when we say we take refuge, you see it's just like a house. You take refuge in the house, you must upkeep the house. So you come to somebody Buddhist society, you must also help the society. The society gives you protections. You must also come and help the society, keep it clean, keep it tidy, offer your energy, whatever help you can. Then only there's the real meaning of refuges. Otherwise, coming on Sunday, just say, chant triple jam, very easy. But once a while, come in, help to clean up everything. Do you know what is the what they call the fruit of helping to clean up a temple? What is the outcome? What is the, if you always come and clean the temple, the male one will become more and more handsome. The female one will become more and more beautiful. You believe or not? You see, so radiant, you see. Scientifically, this is true. You know why? When you come and clean temple, you keep your mind calm and clean. Okay, so you are actually purifying your mind. And when you purify your mind, it affects your physical body. Chinese say 相由心生. Okay, your appearance is determined by your mind. Correct or not? See, when you are happy, when you are smiling, you go and look at the mirror. See, beautiful, isn't it? And when you are angry, you look at the mirror, you are like a devil. Correct or not? And if you are always angry, always grudges here and there, your face will be more and more like devil, So same thing, if you are smiling, happy all the time, your face will be more and more radiant, more and more people. It's natural. It's very scientific. Okay. Let me share a real life story. There was a man who likes go hunting. So he always killed wild boars. He hunted wild boars. But after hunting the wild boars, he got one peculiar hobby. He would sell away all the wild boar meat, but kept the head of the wild boar. And he is quite rich. He got shop lots. So he bought a shop lot. Both sides he put refrigerator, big refrigerator, and put all the head there. Put all the head. Wow! All his the spoil of his hunting. Very happy every day watching. Every day you come and count. Open up this one, look. Open up that one, look. After about 1 year or so, from Ipoh, people in Ipoh say, how come this man look more and more like a pig? True or not? So be very careful. So in your house also, you put Buddha images. Don't put tigers. Some people raw all sort of things lah, tiger lah, lion lah. Some people went to Africa, come back with some funny creatures put in the house. Reverend Mahinda say, be careful. When the last top moment you look at that, so better put Kuan Yin or put Buddha, is safer. Okay, so that's the meaning of taking refuge, must provide some service. So it's not just a simple chanting, it has a significance. Now, of course, when we talk about refuge, there are refuge taking ceremony. In the Theravada countries, children during the full moon day, I mean when they are grown up to 1 month, parents will bring them to the temple. Then they will get a Buddhist name. So they were converted from young, so no ceremony. But for the Chinese, Buddhism came into China, so the Chinese introduced refuge taking ceremony. So like recently, for Guangshan had a great refuge taking ceremony. So you all come and take refuge in that ceremony lah. The Chinese like to introduce that kind of ceremony. Now, some people say no need ceremony ma. Why want ceremony? Take refuge ma. What do you think? Do you think ceremony is important? I just come here and pray enough lah. Why want to have huge ceremonial refuge taking?
It's a practice that increases confidence.
Yeah, it's quite simple. If a young couple get married, no marriage ceremony, you think they like or not? They want to have ceremony, mark something important, because something that affects their whole lives. So it's okay to me. If opening, we should, those who want to opt for this kind of ceremonial refuge taking, it's good. At least also project the Buddhist image lah. People come and take refuge. The only question that comes is, one master come, you go for refuge ceremony. Another master come, you go for refuge taking ceremony. So some people always go for here and from places to places to go and take refuge. And each time this master come, get one name. Next master get another name. Then another master come, get another name. So when you have so many names, when you go to Western paradise, you show so many passports, confusion, you know. Carry one passport enough lah. But I'm just joking. But you know, when I talk like this, they want the nun seriously ask me, "Are you sure or not?" Then how am I going to overcome this problem? Just joking, okay. What I mean is, when you take refuge ceremony, you are taking the monks there or the organization there is officiating the ceremony. They are not your refuge. You know, the monks officiating at the refuge taking ceremony is officiating your refuge of the triple gems, not refuge of that master. Okay? So let it be clear. So you can go to many refuge ceremonies, but actually you are still taking refuge in the triple gems. Therefore, there is no need to keep on changing your names. Names can be very confusing, you know. Chinese those days, nowadays not too bad lah. But nowadays you still have lah, Ang Chu Hong, Ananda lah, Anglona Ang lah, or Alfred Ang lah, all sort of things confuse people ma. Ancient Chinese also got Ming, Zi, Hao. So sometimes we ourselves also confuse. Sometimes people confuse all the personalities. So when I gave lectures to students in USA, they really got confused. Chinese name already so difficult to remember. Yang Ren San, Yang Wen Hui, it refers to the same fellows. So when they got really confused. Okay, so now back to our topic. You take refuge ceremony is okay. Then we take refuge in whom? Okay, now say we take refuge in the Buddha lah. So when people ask you who is the Buddha, what will you answer?
Teacher.
Huh? Teacher. Yeah, Buddha is a teacher. Yeah. Some people enlightened one. Yes, English word we use the enlightened one. Chinese 觉者. Okay. Now when one day the Buddha was walking along the street. There was a young Brahmin by the name of Drona. When he saw the Buddha, wow, the Buddha radiant. The skin is radiant, the head is radiant. Believe or not? Radiant, believe, huh? Some people read until this part only, head radiant, got light come out. Body got radiant, light come out. You don't believe already. Some people are very skeptical, you know. But if you read stories, you must know people must always add something to make it more interesting, lah. Okay? So those of you who don't believe your head radiant, you just shave away your hair, put a little bit of oil, you see radiant. And you those who don't believe your skin is radiant, you look at young boys and young girls in love, all the skin all very radiant one. Yeah. Only after marriage, 7 years, 10 years, then no more radiant already, all become very dark already, all become very already. Why? Because when you are in love, when there's a lot of love and compassion and all things, there's a kind of a hormone secretion that makes your skin radiant. So when you say the Buddha was radiant, or maybe in the Buddhist Sutta you always say this monk that very radiant and that monk very radiant, it's true. Because they are practitioners, they have developed their compassions. So when Drona saw the Buddha like this, Drona asked the Buddha, he said, are you a Deva? Then the Buddha said, no, I'm not Deva. Then, are you a Yakha? Yacha. Then the Buddha said, no, I'm not a Yakha. Then, are you a Gandhava? Gandhava is the heavenly musician. The Buddha said, no. Are you a Manusa? Manusa means Manusya lah. And the Buddha said, no. Then he was confused. Who are you? Then the Buddha said, Abhinayang abhinyantang bhave thabancha bhavintang paha thaban pahinang me tasma buddhosmi pramana. So this is the answer given by the Buddha lah. So next time people ask you, you just give this answer lah. Okay. The Buddha said, Abhinayang abhinyantang, understood fully what need to be understood. Okay. Bhave tabancha bhavintang, develop fully what need to be developed. Paha taban pahinang me, eradicated completely what need to be eradicated. Tasma buddhosmi pramana, therefore Brahmin, I am the Buddha. So from this definition we can see that the Buddha is one who has eradicated all the defilements, developed all the full good qualities, and have the wisdom to see all about our life. Okay, so in short we say enlightened one. Okay, that's why I use the word Buddha. Okay, enlightened one. So if next time people ask you who is the Buddha, just say the Buddha is the Buddha. Okay. No need to say the Buddha is not a human being, the Buddha is not a Deva, the Buddha is not a God. No need. People ask you what is a durian? A durian is a durian lah. No need to say it's not an apple, it's not an orange, it's not a banana. The fact that you have to use something else to explain this means you don't understand this. You use something to exclusion. So I went to a university, a Muslim student asked me, can you tell me what is the Buddha? I said, in your vocabulary, you only got Tuhan and Hantu. You must add the word Buddha, then you can understand. Because in your vocabulary you don't have. That's why you cannot understand. You know, so we must also be like that. The Buddhists must stand up and say, Buddha is a Buddha. Okay? Next time you all don't understand, then you come and learn lah. You come to somebody lah. You come and learn all, then you know. Okay? We don't have to put ours as a subsidiary, the others as the main. Buddha is not God. Buddha is not human being. Buddha is the Buddha. Okay? Some of you might be wondering why the Buddha say he's not a human being. The Buddha actually is a human being. He walked the earth just like us. He was talking about the spiritual development. He was talking about the spiritual realm. We say there are 6 life forms. 6道轮回, 6 life forms. But for the human realm, there are 4 more. you are either an ordinary human being, a Puthujjana, or you are Sotapanna, you are a Anagami, or Sagaragami, or Anagami, or Arahanta, or Buddha. So the Buddha was talking about the 10 Dhamma spiritual realms. So when the Buddha says, I'm not a human being, he's trying to let Rona know that there are different levels of spiritual developments. Okay? So I hope you understand. It is just like butterflies come from lava. Okay? But butterfly is a butterfly. So the Buddha is trying to say, I'm butterfly, I'm not lava. Okay? You are lava. Okay? Understand? So I hope you can understand this. Otherwise, sometimes we may be confused also. Sometimes he's a human being, sometimes he's not a human being. Taiwan scholar Ying Sun Fa Si say he is a 继人成佛. He is a human being as well as he is a Buddha. Okay? Now, many people hope to see the Buddha, even during the time of the Buddha. There was a man by the name of Wakkali. He wanted to see the Buddha so much that he became a monk. He became a monk and spent all his time watching the Buddha. Watching the Buddha. Actually, I suspect he's a homosexual. Actually, you know, in the Buddhist suttas, there are quite a number of stories that can tell you that they were also homosexuals in ancient India. Not new. So he was so interested in the Buddha that he became a monk. And he just came and just watched the Buddha every day. So one day the Buddha said, Wakkali, what are you looking at? Then Wakkali said, Buddha, you are so very serious, so handsome looking. When I come and see you, I feel so happy. Every day I feel so happy. Then the Buddha told him, Wakkali, you foolish one. What is there to see inside this body? This body is full of shit, urine, mucus, blood, sweat. So very dirty and foul. Not worth looking at, Wakkali. Wakkali, Dhammam passati, somam passati. If you see the Dhamma, then you see the Buddha. Okay? Yo mam passati, so Dhammam passati. If you see the Buddha, you must see the Dhamma. Okay? So it's very important for us to know that it's more important to see the Dhamma. When you see the Dhamma, then you understand what is the Buddha. Otherwise, when you see the real Buddha also, you won't recognize him one. Okay? In the Buddhist Sutta, there were also occasions when people could not recognize the Buddha as the Buddha because they don't understand Buddhism. They don't understand the Dhamma. Okay? Now, why I tell you this story? Even the Buddha himself, how he described his human bodies. And yet, here, people, after the Buddha passed away, burned and turned into relics, we go around looking for his relics. Even his human life, human body, he described it as foul, dirty, and yet we are looking every day looking for relics. I say it's okay if you, out of curiosity, go and just have a look, it's good enough. But no need to make it into what the Taiwanese Buddhist nun, Chao Hui Fa Si say, worshipping of corpse. You know, you worship relics as if that is the Buddha. You forget about the Dhamma, you just worship the relics. So don't be carried away lah. Even when the life form also the Buddha described like that, what more about the relics? You're talking about relics now, I better tell you some story about relics. I myself have seen quite a lot of relics. Supposedly true one, but I don't know how true, I don't know. First one I saw in Kandy, 1984. I went to Kandy, World Fellowship of Buddhist Conference. So we went to Kandy. How many of you have been to Kandy? Nice place. Have you seen the Buddha relic?
Yes.
How big? You saw? They opened for you, let you see.
Yeah.
You know, when we were there, we were told the Buddha relics, they always put in a big casket, pagoda, put on the elephant back and walk the streets. See, they call it the candy procession. You know, all over the world, tourists would come, especially during the British day. The tourists would come to look at these Buddha relic processions. So we were told, once they wanted to open the casket so that we could see the real Buddha relic inside. But still, because the moment they wanted to open the moment they opened that one, it was raining day and night for 7 days, 7 nights. So couldn't go on. So they cover back. So from then on, you cannot see one. You can only see the pagoda only. You cannot see pagoda only. So when we were there, they say, "Oh, you all are a VIP guest, special arrangement." So we all walk in, walk out. Then we saw the Buddha relic there. Then I saw the Buddha relic. I don't know how you got so. I saw it quite big, like that. This length about 2 inches. One side is about half an inch diameter. The other side is sharp one. So myself, Leong Kok Heng, Tan Jin Soon, all those. Then we were puzzling. Really, the Buddha's tooth so big one. Then some people say, "Yeah, I think so. You know the Buddha 10 feet tall. I say, "Wow, Buddha 10 feet tall. How can they?" And some people believe, They say, you don't believe, you look at the Buddha's footprint. You see the footprint already so big? Because they saw footprint in Sri Lanka, they saw footprint in Myanmar. Those were footprint made by human beings. But the story was, the Buddha stepped foot here, so the footprint left behind. So they believe Buddha so big. So I said, no, I study science one, I don't believe all this thing. So we argue. Then one monk came, what are you talking about? So I explained, I said, how really is it true, really that big? Oh, because you say you all normally don't allow people to see, so today you open, let us see. Then you say, no, we let you see, but that one is the container of the ruler of the Buddha's tooth relic. That is the elephant tusk. Elephant tusk. That means the Buddha relic is inside the elephant tusk, you cannot see one. Didn't tell us properly. And then I was told there was another Buddha relic, tooth relic in Shanghai, Longquan-si. I was there, I think 2016 or 17. Also, we could just see from far, look at the temple, we just bye. We cannot see we couldn't go in. But I was told this Buddha relic, the tooth relic from Longquan-si, was brought by Chow Eng Lai when he visited Sri Lanka, to let this Buddha tooth meet the other two Buddha tooth. So there's a great significance. Maybe just share with you some this called Buddhist politics, Buddhist diplomacy, bring the Buddha tooth to Sri Lanka. Pakistan, Bangladesh, today's Bangladesh has got one very famous Bangladesh prince of the ancient days by the name of Ashita. Those of you who practice Vajrayana, you must know Ashita. Ashita was a famous Buddhist scholar who also came to Sumatra, and he has produced a big number of students. So we could see from Ashita the real impact of Buddhism around that time. Then Ashita died in China, cremated in China. So to cement or to bring about a good relationship between Bangladesh and China, the Ashita's relics was actually sent back to Bangladesh to be cremated. I don't know whether it's full or part of it to be cremated in Bangladesh. Today Bangladesh, despite the fact it's 99% Muslim, Vesak is a public holiday. Bangladesh is still very proud of their Buddhist traditions. Of course, only those Buddhists lah. I think just now we already chanted all the qualities of the Buddha, so we forget about that. We will skip that. Now, In the early days, after the Buddha passed away, there was no images. Early days, immediately after the Buddha's passing away, they had the relics collected and made into 8 portions and put up pagodas by 8 kings to house them, to house the relics. Then came King Asoka, who conquered the whole of India. So he thought just 8 portions in northern India is not good enough, so he dug them up and distributed throughout India, and said to have constructed 84,000 pagodas, 84,000法门，84,000 pagoda in India. That's why now it's very difficult to trace which one is genuine or which one is authentic or not authentic. But actually, the word 84,000, as you always see in the Buddhist scripture, is a figurative speech lah. It's not exact figure. It's like Malay say beribu-ribu like that. Okay, beribu-ribu. So it could be just 1,000 or maybe 500 or what lah. But you know, we also like the exaggeration, so we say 84,000 lah. Okay. So the Buddha relics were distributed throughout India, and for all the pagodas, until the Asoka's time, they still use the Bodhi trees, the footprint, or the swastika sign to represent. It was no Buddha image. The Buddha image came only around the 1st century AD, due to the influence of Alexander the Great's Greek art. Greek artists came all the way to today's Pakistan, the place called Taxila. Now Pakistan also making friends with us, want to promote Buddhist tourism in Taxila. Pakistan claimed that Taxila is the worst, biggest Buddhist heritage site. Even the one in Nalanda cannot beat theirs. It's the biggest. And Shen Zhang visited there also. So because the Greeks were there, they started making Buddha images. They start making images of Alexander the Great lah, making the Apollo lah, all those things. So in Eastern India, they also began to imitate lah. Since people make images, so we also make Buddha images. Now the question is, more than 400, 500 years have already passed. How do they know how the Buddha look like? You see, look like this, look like that. Any idea how? If you are an artist, how are you going to make? Any idea? Any idea how to make the Buddha image now? If I'm an artist and I wanted to make a Buddha image, but I have no pictures, no Photoshop, no photograph. How? Huh? Huh?
The virtues of the Buddha, they visualize.
Yeah, actually, it's mentioned in the sutta. So you don't have a photograph, but description. It was said that the Buddha got the 32 signs, 32 major signs and 80 minor signs described in the suttas. Okay. So for example, it says that the Buddha here a little bit got a hump here bigger. So we make it a bit hump a bit lah. But Thai people make it very big lah. Make it become like a pagoda like that. Then there's a swastika sign on the chest, so we put a swastika sign. Then the hand, when it's stretched, it's longer, can reach the knee. Most of us can't reach the knee lah. But China and India in ancient times all believe all great human beings, their hands longer than the leg one, longer than the knee, can reach the knee. So today look very ugly lah. If your hands that long, look very ugly. But those days, it was described like that. Then got one more sign here. There's a hair here, which Uncle Vijaya say when you pull out it's about 3 feet. When you let go, you spring back nicely. I don't know how he got that research material. I asked him one. He said 3 feet. He make research already. Then today's artists, you don't like to draw this one. You go and take this out and take the hair out and put a diamond there. And then people thought Buddha got 3 eyes. Buddha got 2 eyes only. If he had got 3 eyes, I think if you see him, you run away. Yeah, 2 eyes. So with the description, so they start making the Buddha image with all the characteristics. Now you look at some of the images. You look at this Buddha image. This was made by the Greeks. You look at the one at the bottom. The feature quite the same, right? Say again? To have hairs. Oh, okay. Talking about the hairs. The Buddha and his monks supposedly shave their hairs. But the hairs is allowed to grow up to 2 finger breadth. Actually, it grows quite substantially, 2 finger breadth. Ours maybe 3 inches, 4 inches, but those 3, 4 inches. So if you see a lot of these Tibetan monks, you see their hair quite long. It's still in conformation with the Vinaya rules. 2 finger breadth. So the Buddha's hair was said to be curly. So they put all the curly hairs there. Actually, monk doesn't mean that they don't have hairs, because nowadays we got shavers, so every day you shave. So all the monks' hair is very short, especially China, and most of the. If you look at Japanese, a lot of Japanese monks, their hair is about at least 1 inch tall. They let it grow. You shave, then you let it grow until 1 inch. 1 inch still okay, or 2 finger breadth still 1 inch. Then only you shave again. So got some hairs. Doesn't mean it's completely radiant, That one you have to shave 100%. Now this what the barber, that shaver must use what 0.11. Then put some oil. Then only radiant. Okay, right. So when the artists make, they know how to make. Okay, so the Buddha image, the bottom one, that one is Alexander the Great, Well, they look the same, And Alexander the Great is Alexander the Great really that handsome? Maybe not that handsome. But all the artists, ancient time, they also know Photoshop one. They will make him look handsome. Even though not handsome also, they make it handsome. Then after that, when they make the Buddha image, taking into consideration all the characteristics, the ear look very long, all those things, but still the characteristic there, okay. Then Alexander the Great looked like whom? This one, Apollo, the Greek god. Apollo, the Greek god of ancient Greece. So ancient artists, they imagine how Apollo looks like. They make a handsome Apollo. Then when Alexander the Great was around, you make an image of the king. You dare to make him look ugly. Sure, you make him look nice. Okay. So you must understand the background, how this thing happened. How many of you visited China? Longmen Siku. Have you been to Longmen Siku or Yanggang Siku? I also don't know which one I have gone to. Yanggang or Longmen Siku. You see the Buddha image there. Ordered by who? By Wu Zetian, the first lady emperor in China. Wu Zetian make. Then people make, those scholars make a investigation and study. That Buddha image really look like Wu Zetian. Wu Zetian, the artist also knows what the empress really want lah. Nim only want to make Buddha image. If the artist is a stupid artist, go and really make a Buddha image different from Wu Zetian, I think his head would have gone. Make him look like Wu Zetian. Okay? So now, if people ask you to make Buddha image, you must ask, who asked you to make? Then you make according to what to make the Buddha image look like him or her. Say again. You say? Who asked me? Which one? I can't hear. Huh? Rosma. Why are we suddenly? Okay, these are the places. The one on the extreme, on my extreme left there. That one is Beijing. The Bluetooth relic was supposed to be there. And this one at the bottom, Famen-shi, Baoji, that's where the finger relic is there. Okay. The Chinese government tried to make Famen-shi a world-renowned Buddhist center. So they spent a lot of money there. The hotel room that I went in and was checked in, one room but double story. Hotel room got 2 story, inside got 2 story one. It really like a suite. And then I asked them, who come here? They seldom people come. And then business cannot go on. So the government buy back. Same as Malaysia. Private cannot do, government buy back.
You mean all this is in Beijing?
The one on top is Candy.
Candy, yeah.
Huh? Candy.
Famen-shi is in Beijing.
Famen-shi is in Baoji, off Xi'an, 2 hours journey from Xi'an. In the ancient days, Xi'an and Baoji was a well-known Buddhist center. Now, when we look at the Buddha images, some of us would think that, when we make Buddha images, sitting down or reclining. I went to a conference in Sri Lanka, and one professor said, all these sitting Buddha images and reclining, very bad for child education. He said, very bad for child psychology. You are telling people not to do anything. The Buddha actually spent more time walking than sitting down. Okay? So now there are some fresh new thinking now. You go to Bangkok, Buddha Mountain, the Buddha walking. You go to several places in Bangkok, in Thailand now, more and more walking Buddha now. Even in Tumpat or Kelantan there also walking Buddha now. To let people know that Buddha is not just all about all the time sitting. Especially today we talk about socially engaged Buddhism. Buddhism has to be engaged with the societies. And the Buddha actually spent a lot of time enter into the palaces, talking to the kings and things like that. So the Buddha was very much socially engaged, but all the time we put him. So all the time we thought that is the way. So now there's a changing perspective to all these things. But actually, it's not new. You go to Mandalay, this Buddha image was few hundred years back already made in Mandalay. You see the Buddha image. The Buddha was pointing like that. He's holding his robe this way. Like Anwar Ibrahim doing demonstration like that. Correct? So the Buddha has got many gestures. Don't think that it's only one gesture. Okay, we briefly talk about the Buddha. Now we talk about the Dhamma. So what is the Dhamma? Just now we say we go to the 3 refuges to learn. To learn what? Basically to learn the Dhamma. But what is the Dhamma? So many definitions of the Dhamma. It's very difficult to understand, but I give you a simple example, then you can understand what is Dhamma. Suppose this thing, if I were to drop, it will drop this way. It won't go this way, it won't go that way, it won't go up, it will drop this way. This is called what? Law of what? Law of gravity, right? Who founded it? Who discovered this law? Isaac Newton. So we say Newton's law of gravity. Suppose this water here is 100 degrees centigrade. Can I drink? I cannot drink. So I have to wait until it's 30 degrees. Okay? Then I can drink. Okay. Whose law is this? Your law and my law lah. We know what? We know through our experience. No need people to tell us we know. Okay? So this one is Dhamma. This law of gravity is Dhamma. The word Dharma, Dar, that which support, that which upholds, that which make things in order. Okay? English word law. Okay? Why far? Okay? So Dhamma is like that. But these laws were not spoken by the Buddha. The examples I gave you was not spoken by the Buddha. The Buddha talked about something else. Not this one. This one too simple. Can leave it to Newton. Okay? This one even simpler. We all know. Okay? And this type of Dhamma, do we take refuge in them? Every day we take refuge in them. Every day we follow them. You don't believe me? Now you jump through your window and jump out and see. You naturally follow that Dhamma. If you don't follow that Dhamma, you are in big trouble. Okay? So we follow that Dhamma. That's why we survive. Same thing, this water. If it's 100 degrees centigrade and I go against the Dhamma, I drink it, I will be in trouble. But I have to follow. So we'll follow the Dhamma. The Buddha also taught us the Dhamma. Since he's taught by the Buddha, we say the Buddha Dhamma. Okay? The Buddha didn't tell us all these things. Why the Buddha didn't tell all these physical laws? Because he has got no time lah. Why no time? There was once the Buddha passed by a forest. You all know the story of Simsala leaf. So he took some leaf from the forest and said, this leaf in my hand, is it more or the one in the forest? Then of course the disciples say, of course the one in the forest is more. Why is in your hand so little? Then the Buddha said, so also the Dhamma that I taught you is only this much. The Dhamma that I have not taught you is like in the forest. So there are many Dhammas, many laws in this world. But the Buddha taught us the most essential one, the most important one, something that has got to do with our life forms. Okay? So that is called Buddha Dhamma. So in essence, what is the Buddha Dhamma? Today we all learned the Buddha Dhamma as we learn from the Pali text. The Buddha taught us. Basically, you summarize them: Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga. We know about the nature of life. The nature of life is basically Dukkha. Then how the Dukkha comes about. Then how the Dukkha can cease. And the way to cease this Dukkha. So this is the Buddhist Dhamma. Now, this is very interesting because Dukkha, as we experience today, who can deny this Dukkha? Which religious philosophy in this world says there is no Dukkha? You know, all religions, all philosophies acknowledge that this world, this life is Dukkha. That's why they offer heaven as a better alternative and frighten you a little bit with the hell. Correct now? So all religions, all philosophies accepted that this world is Dukkha. Dukkha means, Reverend Apollo Rahula translated as unsatisfactoriness, means this world is not satisfactory. We say, 生老病死, okay? Born, old age, sicknesses, then we die, then we do not get what we want, we are associated what we don't want, then we yearn for what we want, we don't get, and finally, the coming together of the five aggregates. This is Dukkha. Coming together of the five aggregates is Dukkha. You understand why that? No? What is the meaning of coming together of the five aggregates? Is Dukkha. Our human bodies coming together is five aggregates. Very difficult to understand, right? Never mind, I give you a simple example. I ask you a simple question. Why people have headache? Why people have headache? Huh? Huh? Got heat lah, all those things lah. No, the real answer is because we have a head. Who complain? My tail pain. Anybody complain? Your tail pain? Because you don't have a tail, ma. So coming together of the five again, the body, the coming together, the body itself is the dukkha. If there is no body, there is no dukkha. Okay? So simple, no need to explore all the big philosophies until we are all so confused. Okay? So all this kind of dukkha or unsatisfactoriness, they are causes, and eventually we can eliminate them. But how to do it? The Buddha offered a practical path called the Eightfold Noble Path. So our Buddhist, I call it the system of thoughts. System, you think in terms of the system, begins with ourselves, begins with our immediate problem. Whereas other religions, their system of thought is different. Their system of thoughts is based on what we call myths, M-Y-T-H-S, stories, that we were created, then we sin, therefore we must pay back, we must believe, then we go to a better place when we die. That is called system of thoughts. Okay? In that system of thoughts, if you don't believe that stories, your whole things collapse. Okay? Whereas in Buddhism, our system of thoughts begins with our immediate problem of human suffering and try to end it. So we don't have that problem. Okay? Now, do Buddhisms also have myths or all these fairy tale stories? We do have. But our stories or our myths are different from others. Other systems, if you don't believe those myths, you are not a believer anymore. You don't believe that when God was, one day come to this earth, take out some earth and make a human being, make a man. And then after that, the man died. Sorry, the man didn't die yet. And after that, the somebody up there found that this man is very lonely, so make him go to sleep. After that, took a rib from the man and make a woman. Okay, that's why men always searching and looking up for that bone lah. That's why men, you see, always like to see women because they want to look for that bone. Then after that, there's a snake. The snake asks the woman to go and eat the apple, and then after that open the eyes, and then open the eyes, we are naked, you cannot. Then cover with leaves, and then ask Adam to eat, and then Adam also eat, and Adam eat halfway. Then somebody came down, hey, don't eat. Then that's why our apple is stuck here. That's why man got apple. But this part I add this one. Not in the original stories. Anyway, stories are stories. You can always add. Okay. And then after that, punishment. Okay, banish them. Get out of my garden. Nothing like that. So there is a story, but you must believe in that story. Otherwise, it won't stand. So Buddhism, we have story or not? Well, we have equally big number of stories. You want to listen to the stories? Our Buddhist stories. You see, the Buddha, when Siddhartha Gautama was born, was under the Asoka tree in Lumbini, when the Queen Mahamaya stretched her hand up, hold the branch, and the prince dropped from the armpit. When I tell the story, my grandchildren, so very strange one, so very shocked. They all say. Then after that, walk on the floor. Every step, there's a lotus flower that sprang up so that his foot wouldn't touch the floor. No. At the end of that, earthquake. Some more earthquake. After that, 9 dragons pour water, bathe. And then the prince, one hand up, one hand down, 天上天下唯我独尊, I am the supreme in the earth. Interesting or not, the story? You must tell story like this, then only children will enjoy, right? Not? If you say the Prince Siddhartha was born in Lumbini Garden, full stop. Nothing, no story. Just like today, you watch TV programs, all got sound effect there. Real life, they got sound effect. Right? So this is like add sound effect lah. So same thing. So you believe or not? How many of you believe got lotus flowers? When we first learn Buddhism, sometimes we puzzle, If we don't believe, then we are like non-believers. We must believe. But actually, these are stories to make it more interesting. Actually, the lotus flowers are not even mentioned in the suttas. But we every day we all talk. Then now got lotus already. 7 lotuses came out. And Chinese version say 9 dragons. Our Theravada traditions only 2 dragons. 1 hot water, 1 cold water. Then I think when we reach China, the Chinese like 9. The biggest figures, either 5 or 9. Emperor is called Choo. So they must have 9 dragons, so it become 9. Actually, only 5. Only 2. Original version, only 2. Okay? And 1 hot water, 1 cold water. And sometimes these stories may try to reflect something at that situation, because now it seems some experts discovered that actually in Lumbini today there are still 2 gusts of water flowing, 1 hot and 1 cold in that pond. Don't know how true is it lah. Tourist guide say so. Okay. 1 hot and 1 cold. So it's not surprising. That's why all the stories may try to reflect something. For example, it was said that Queen Mahamaya dreamed that a white elephant entered her womb. Why? Because she was conceived in the year of elephant. The prince was conceived in the year of elephant. The Indians also have got, like our Chinese, the 12 animals to represent. So they also got their animals to represent. But if you were to say, oh, he was born in the year of the elephant, it's not interesting. But if you were to say, elephant entered to the womb, interesting. Now the point is, even if you don't believe in all these stories, it's still okay. You can choose to believe or you don't choose to believe, because your Eightfold Noble Path has got nothing to do with this. There's a big difference lah. There's a big difference between our teachings and other teachings. In Buddhism, we also have the story about, I think maybe you all have heard already, how beings from other planets, when their lifespan is fully spent, then they descended into this earth. Then at first this earth was covered with foam, covered with foam. So those beings came down, they were flying in the air, radiant, like with light. It was all dark, but their body is got light. And they fed on those. Then after some time, those foam disappeared. Then their body also landed on the earth. Then began to cultivate plants, eat on the grains, the rice and things like that. Then the body become coarser and coarser. Otherwise, it was floating in the air. Up to that stage, all those beings that descended, they were unisex. No male, no female. Okay? So today, if you see those people who are neither male nor female, don't laugh at them. Could be our ancestor, Okay? So they landed on the land. Then they began to cultivate crops. Then features begin to appear. Some become male, some become female. Then the male and the female, they were attracted to each other. Then they began to make love. And when they began to make love, those people who have not come to that stage got very angry with them. So throw stone at them. So they all went and hide in the cave. Okay? That's why nowadays people get married with throw flowers. So it reminds us of throwing stone at them, Then that's how human beings populated this earth. Well, you want to believe those stories? Believe. You don't want to believe? It's okay. We are still having the same problem. We are still having our life of dukkha, and we need to overcome our life of dukkha. So I hope we understand this. Okay. So this is basically because of time constraint, I try to make it very simple for us to understand the essence of the Dhamma. And perhaps I can add a little bit is that the things happen to us. Many people thought that everything is due to our past karma. Then the Buddha mentioned very clearly, there are three teachings which are wrong. Things happen or happen to us. Some will say, oh, somebody up there determined one. Then the Buddha said, in that case, you are not responsible. You are only a player, you are only a chatu. People ask you to do like this, you go and kill, you steal, you sexual misconduct, because you are directed like that. You are only a actor. You are not even the director or controller, so you are not responsible. So the Buddha said that's wrong teaching. Okay. Then the Buddha said, some people say everything is due to my past karma. So anything that happened also because of past karma. Then in that case, you also don't have to be bothered anything because it's my past karma. Today I must kill people because of my past karma like that. Now today I must do like this. I steal people also because of my past karma. So if everything is due to your past karma, then you are also not responsible. So that is also the wrong teaching. Then another third class of teaching is things happen randomly. It happens without cause. It just happened. Then the Buddha said that is also not a true teaching. Okay. The Buddha's true teachings is in the law of cause and effect, or we call it the law of dependent origination, the law of paticca samuppada. Things happen, they must have causes. They must have causes. Of course, you can include the past karma, one of the causes, but whatever that happens at that moment also involve our mind at that particular moment. So I give you an example. If I come to somebody Buddhist society and I found that I find there is a note, $500, okay, a pack of money here, 500 ringgit. Then I can make a decision. Either I take the $500, donate to somebody, or I can take the $500, pocket the money, or I can take the $500, do some charity. There are so many possibilities. Okay, all these possibilities because your mind decide. Your mind at that moment decide. That is why Dhammapada verse 1 says, mind is the forerunner of all things. Okay, so you cannot say, oh, because my past karma very good, so that's why I come here, I get $500. Then because my past karma, I must take the $500 and pocket it. Okay, so it's not really because of that. You have to decide on the mind at that moment. So the mind at that moment, that's why we say the mind is both conditioned and conditioning. Our mind can be conditioned by many things, including our past karma. But our mind is also conditioning, directing. So that's why it's called Yan Qi. Okay? So if we understand this, then we don't blame everything into the past. I give you another example. If you, let's say in a family, a small family, father and mother and a child, okay, and a girl. Early in the morning, father as usual sleep extra. Then the mother come down, prepare breakfast, everything ready, milk, toast, everything. Then the father came down in a big hurry and knocked the milk, then the milk spoiled, fell down. Then the father got angry or start scolding, stupid, why put the milk here, don't put in the middle. Then of course the wife got angry. So they started quarreling. After quarreling, then the child start crying. Then after that, all big mess. Then the in a big hurry, the father to get hold of the child, put into the car, and just rush the child to school. Then because you are late already, you have to speed. When you speed, then suddenly you hear people. The policeman come, stop you. Abang, laju abang, laju macam mana? Then you got to settle. Okay. After settle, you reach the office, boss scold you some more. Why you are late? See, the whole day is spoiled. Now, accidentally knocking down, that's beyond your control. Subsequent action is all your control, all your mind. If subsequently you straight away apologize, you clean up the milk, you get another bottle or whatever, the whole day story is different already. Okay? That is the meaning of Yan Qi. That's the meaning of mind is the forerunner of all things. Okay? So I hope we understand Dhamma in that sense. Okay, the last part, what do we believe what Buddhists believe? What do we Buddhists believe? Last part is about the Sangha. There was a Chinese scholar. He said, I can take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Buddha and Dhamma, but I cannot take refuge in the Sangha. You look at those monks squatting along the roadside, smoking away. How can I take refuge in this type of people? Is he right? In a way, right? But I think he perceived wrongly Sangha. Including many Buddhists, we perceive Sangha wrongly. The Sangha that we take refuge, just now you were chanted, refers to whom? We say Savaka Sangho. We never say Bhikkhu Sangho. We never say Bhikkhuni Sangho. We say Savaka Sangho. Savaka, listener. Translate into English means disciples. Okay? Savaka Sangho. Savaka, the community of the disciples of the Buddha. Never mention whether it's monk or lay people. Never mention Bhikkhuni or not Bhikkhu or Bhikkhuni. First point you understand. Second point, the important part of that is Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yukani Atta Purisa Pugala. The 4 pairs of person and the 8 types of people. This is the one that we take refuge in. Who are these people? 4 pairs of persons, 8 types of people refers to those who are entering Sotapanna and those who completed Sotapanna. Those who are entering Sakadagami and those who completed Sakadagami. Those who are entering Anagami and those who are completing Anagami. And those who enter into Arhantahud and those who graduated from Arhantahud. So Sangha refers to these holy people. The refuge that we take, it refers to these holy people, Arya Sangha. So I hope you understand. And it uses the word community, Sangho, community, like association, like society, like not any particular individual. So, once we understand this, it's just like we take refuge in the Buddha, the fully enlightened one. Now we take refuge in this community of holy disciples. These are also holy people. Okay, so these are not ordinary monks that we see along the roadside. The refuge. Okay, but I want you to understand. For everything, we have some symbols to represent. For example, the Buddha, we use the Buddha images nowadays to represent. The Dhamma, we can say Eightfold Noble Truth, Eightfold Noble Path, the law of dependent origination, whatever. But we still need something to symbolize. So we use the suttas. That's why in Theravada traditions, when you say, we welcome the entering of the Triple Gems, so somebody will come in with a Buddha image on the head. The second person will carry the sutta on the head, the Buddha and Dhamma. The third one? Monks lah, ordinary monks. Ordinary monks. They represent, they represent the Arya Sangha. Although they are not the Arya Sanghas, but they represent the Arya Sangha. And since they represent, we also pay respect. Even though sometimes he may be squatting on the room or start smoking away, we say no standard lah, but never mind. He represent ma. Okay. Now, when we say community, it's different from individuals. That's why in Buddhism we always try to, in the Theravada traditions, we always say Sangika Dana is bigger than the dana given to an individual monk, because Sangika Dana means to the community of Sangha. That is the virtue of the Arya Sanghas. So it's a great virtues lah. That's why we say great merits. But if you do one particular monk, that is the virtue of that particular monk. So the field of merit is a little bit not up to the grade lah. That's why the Sinhalese know this very well. The Sinhalese, when they come to Big Buddhist temple, they ask monks to go for home dana. They always look for 4 monks. Four was the quorum specified the Buddha, you know. 4 then can represent Sangha. Less than 4, you're individual. You're not qualified to represent Sangha. So minimum 4. So sometimes they come to Big temple, look, the chief rebel say, I got no monks, I got only 2. Ask your son to become monk lah. Okay, so I hope you understand. There is a story. I don't know whether I got enough time. There is enough. There's story. There was a layman who offered dana to monks. Then he offered respectfully to all the monks, including a monk who was very notorious, bad behavior. That monk, after receiving the dana, felt that this layman now show me a lot of respect. So in the afternoon, I come back and ask for more. So in the afternoon, he came back alone, and then asked for something extra. Then this time, the layman just take something and just throw to him. Then the wife of the layman was puzzled. She said, ask him, why in the morning you show so much respect to him? In the afternoon, you don't respect him. He said, in the morning, he came as a representative of the Sangha. I have to respect him because he's a representative of the Sangha. But in the afternoon, he came alone. Okay? So I only give the respect that is due to him at that level only. So you see, people understand this. So this is what we Buddhists generally believe, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. And we have to understand this very clearly because this is our core belief system. Okay? Thank you very much. Yes.